the beginning of the story, a man named Max is shown in a well. Max used to be a policeman. But now there are no police, army or politicians in the world. There was a nuclear war in the world. After the nuclear war, the air became poisonous. The whole earth became barren. And now only a few people are left on earth. Max gets visions of his family, all of whom have now died. Max gets out of his car. And then a caravan of cars comes here. They bump into Max's car and turn it upside down. After this, Max is taken prisoner. These people take Max with them. A tattoo is made on his back, on which it is written O negative, which is Max's blood group. He is a universal donor. Actually, these people have made Max their slave. And before they put their seal of slavery on him, Max runs away from their clutches. But these people somehow catch Max again. All these people work for Immortan Joe. Immortan Joe is the most powerful person here. He wears a special kind of collar on his face, both sides of which have two pipes. He can breathe through this collar. That is, it is necessary to wear a collar to keep him alive. The place where Immortan Joe lives is a peak of the mountain. There are many people below, all of whom are very weak. Immortan Joe tells everyone that you will all rise up through me. I am the liberator. After this, he releases water from above. Seeing the water, everyone here becomes very happy. There is a shortage of water in this era. People are constantly dying of hunger and thirst. That's why everyone fights for water. Here a girl is shown whose name is Furiosa. And she also works for Immortan Joe. Immortan Joe has sent her to take fuel from the fuel station with some of his people. But before she reaches the fuel station, she turns her car towards the east. One of his men also asks that we had to go straight. But Furiosa says that we will go towards the east. No one can refuse his order because he is the senior. That's why all the cars go towards the east. This whole scene Immortan Joe sees from above through the binoculars. He goes inside a running chamber, where he had imprisoned 5 girls. The girls will give birth to children for him, so that his dynasty can move forward. But now all those 5 girls are missing from here. He understands that Furiosa has taken them with her. He tells his people to follow him. Immortan Joe's army is very happy to hear this, because they are ready to give their lives for Immortan Joe. Immortan Joe's army is called War Boys. They are suffering from a disease due to nuclear radiation, because of which they all need blood. And that's why they have imprisoned Max. A war boy is shown who is very weak, but he wants to catch Furiosa somehow. That's why he ties Max in front of his car. A pipe is coming out of Max's body, from which blood is going to the body of that war soldier, so that he keeps getting energy. And by joining the war, he was able to give his life for Immortan Joe and become a martyr. It is a matter of pride to be a martyr here. Furiosa is shown who reaches the area of other people, and those people take the car and start chasing her. All the companions of Furiosa are killed one by one here. But now Immortan Joe's army, which wants to catch Furiosa, reaches here. And the people of the other area fight with them and kill them one by one. But before they catch Furiosa, a very big storm is coming in front. Furiosa takes her car and goes into that storm. But the war soldier who has Max tied in front of his car, he also follows Furiosa and enters the storm. And when he is near Furiosa's car, he puts a lot of petrol in his car, because he wants to set fire to his car, blast it, and stop Furiosa by giving his life. But before he blasts, Max holds his hand, and the next moment his car collides with Furiosa's big car. The war soldier's car flips over. The next morning it is shown that the storm has completely calmed down. Max is alive, but the war soldier was killed. He is tied with a chain. That's why he picks him up and takes him to the car in which Furiosa ran with 5 girls. Those 5 girls are there. Max points a gun at them and asks them to cut the chain. But when a girl is cutting the chain, Furiosa attacks Max. There is a fight between the two of them, and then the war soldier who is tied with Max's chain gets up. Actually, he is not dead. He just fainted. He wants to catch Furiosa at any cost, so that Morton, who gave him the reward he asked for, Max and the war soldier, both take Furiosa in their custody. The war soldier is happy to see this. He cuts Max's chain, but Max punches him and takes the car and leaves. The 5 girls with Furiosa, who have been released from Immortan Joe's captivity, she tells them to come with me if they want to survive, because Immortan Joe's entire army is coming to catch them from behind. Furiosa runs towards the car that Max had taken from here. He has stopped a little far. Furiosa reaches there. She says to Max that I have set a sequence in it. It cannot run without me. That's why Max has to take all of them in his car. They all reach near the mountains. There is a gang here. This area is theirs. Furiosa says that I had made a deal with them. They let us go from here. I don't know if they will let us go or not. She tells the 5 girls and Max to hide in the car. And then she enters their area. The leader of these people says that you said that some people will follow you. But 3 war parties are following you here. Furiosa had promised to give them oil instead of passing through here, which is in a round tanker behind their car. And before she separates the tanker, Furiosa sees that Immortan Joe is about to reach with his people from behind. That's why Max starts the car and takes it out of here. Furiosa sits in the car somehow. The people who have this area, they blast a rock in front of them, due to which the way to come inside is completely closed. Immortan Joe and his army, whose name is War Boys, they all stop outside. Now the people who have this area, they are all expert bikers. They start chasing Max and Furiosa on their bikes. But Max and Furiosa kill all these bikers one by one here. But before they move on from this place, Immortan Joe reaches their car with his people from his car. Immortan Joe is about to shoot Furiosa. That's when one of the 5 girls is put outside the car. This girl is pregnant. She has Immortan Joe's child in her womb. That's why Immortan Joe doesn't fire at her, because he doesn't want to harm his child at any cost. This is very important for him. This is his descendant. But he tries his best to stop Furiosa's car. He fires a chain from his car, and the chain gets stuck on their steering, because of which they can't control their car anymore. But that's when the pregnant girl gets out of the car and cuts the chain. And before they could control the car, they see that there is a rock in front of them. They somehow turn their car, but their car's door collides with it. The girl who cut the chain is still outside the car, and when she tries to get inside the car, her foot slips and hangs on the door. The door breaks and she falls to the ground. Immortan Joe comes from behind. To save her, he turns his car to the left, because of which his car turns. Immortan Joe gets out of his car, and he sees that his slave has a child in her womb. She is badly injured. She is taking her last breath. Seeing this, Immortan Joe is in pain. While Max and Furiosa are moving ahead, Immortan Joe's man is also hidden in their car. His name is Nux, who tied Max in front of his car at the beginning of the story. And he was bleeding from his body and putting it in his body. Nux is very upset here. He says that I got a chance. I could have caught you and made Immortan Joe happy. I could have gone to heaven with my friends. But I lost all my chances. Now the 4 girls in the car. One of them explains to him. She says that maybe your fate is something else. She puts her hand on his lips with love. Nux is completely calm. It's been a whole day since his car has been running. Now it's night. Max and Furiosa see that Immortan Joe's car is still following them. That's why Max spreads dynamite on the ground, takes his car and gets out of there. And when Immortan Joe's whole car comes on top of that dynamite, there are blasts here, because of which all their cars stop there. But a car comes out of here and goes ahead, and she is constantly following Max and Furiosa's car. And before Max and Furiosa could get out of here, their car's tire gets stuck in a ditch, because of which she can't move forward. The Nux who wanted to kill them first, now he wants to help them. He says that there is a dry tree in front. We should tie the car cable to it, so that we can get our car out of the ditch. And now they tie the car cable to the dry tree. That's when the car that was following them reaches them. It constantly fires bullets at them. And before they kill them all, their car gets out of the ditch. They take this car and move a little ahead. Max takes an oil can and moves towards the car that is following them, because they don't have weapons. And after a few moments Furiosa sees that there is a blast. She thinks that Max was killed. But Max is alive. Max has blasted their car. He also brings all their weapons. After that they move ahead again. After driving the car all night. In the morning when they were moving ahead from the desert, Furiosa sees a tower. She says that the place where she used to live in her childhood, there was a similar tower there. They reach that tower. Furiosa tells her name after reaching there. She tells the name of her tribe. She also tells the name of her mother. In the next moment a lot of bikers come to her. They are all females. Furiosa meets her mother here. They all recognize Furiosa. Furiosa says that I want to take these 4 girls to the green place with me. And then an old woman tells her that the place where you are coming from, it was the same green place that was worth living in earlier. But now you can't go there. Furiosa is very sad to hear this. After this they all make plans that they will go to the other side of the dry sea, so that they can find a new home for themselves. But Max does not go with them. He wants to choose his own path. When everyone leaves, then Max gets visions of a little girl. She says that you promised that you will save me. But you could not save me. Max could not save this girl's life in his past. After this vision, Max reaches near Furiosa on his bike. He tells her that there is nothing but salt where you are going. We should go back to the fort of Immortan Joe. There is water and greenery there. If we take it in our custody once, then everything will be fine. Everyone agrees with Max, and once again, they start going to the fort of Immortan Joe from the same car that has an oil tanker in it. On the way, Immortan Joe and his men see their car. Immortan Joe understands that they are going to the fort, because there are no soldiers on the fort, so they want to capture the fort. Immortan Joe starts following them with his men. Max and Furiosa kill many of their people, but Immortan Joe captures one of the 4 girls. But Furiosa somehow reaches Immortan Joe's car, and she pulls out his mask, which kills him. But he still has a lot of war boys who want to kill them all. The car that Max was driving had an oil tanker in it. He crashes into the car, which causes a huge blast, and all of them are killed. Furiosa becomes very weak. Max understands that he needs blood. That's why he transfers his blood to his body, which makes him normal. And now they reach the fort of Immortan Joe. There are soldiers there too. But when they show Immortan Joe's dead body, all the people there are very happy. And they shout, "Let all of them come up." Immortan Joe is killed, so the water is also opened here. Seeing the water, everyone dances. All the war boys in the fort welcome the 4 wives of Furiosa and Immortan Joe. That is, now all of them have the right on this fort, where there are big machines to draw water from the ground. There is greenery here too. That's why no one will ever lack water. And when they are going up, Furiosa looks at Max, who is in the crowd. Max also looks at him. And then he leaves there. He has done the job he was responsible for. And with this, the story ends here.